Hi, I'm Kevin Flanagan, head of fixed income strategy at Wisdom Tree.
And I'm Jeff Weniger, head of equity strategy. And this is Minds on the Markets, where we go behind the scenes and beyond the trends to explore the forces impacting our markets.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Minds on the Markets. Remember, tune us in here on YouTube, tell your friends and any other social media where you may see our beautiful faces talking about market-related developments every other week. So Jeff, let's get right into it. I love this one. Jeff, I will give all the honors to here. He was the primary author, and it was about state-owned enterprises. Now, right, what do you usually think about when you hear SOE? Think about China, think maybe about Asia. Do you ever consider what's happening here between the Atlantic and Pacific coasts? And Jeff, I thought it was really very interesting. So give us a sense here when you were talking about it. What are we looking at? How involved is the U.S. government here in, say, the private sector?
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate the kind words. And look, you guys can see from the banner, we're from the Wisdom Tree ETF house, and we have a history at Wisdom Tree with SOEs and trying to figure out how do you even define these things. And this was the crux of the piece that we penned yesterday, which is essentially, okay, take an Intel. Kevin, is Intel a state-owned enterprise? I mean, it's a matter of opinion. Yeah. Look, the Trump administration, it's been a year, by the way. It's been a year since the Trump administration took its stake in Intel, and you open up the S&P 500 back then. It might have been the number 200 name in the S&P because it's so fallen from grace. 9.9% stake, and then the warrants for more, if the government wants to exercise those warrants, those don't come due until 2030. So maybe they end up with some larger stake in Intel. And then you start questioning, well, what is the profit motive at some of these companies? I mean, this has been a move through the years from the original Chrysler bailout, which was, you're going to fail. Let us come in here and backstop your bonds or backstop your loans. To AIG going under in 08, but we need to bail out a company that is insolvent right now, to, what are we going to do here with rare earths? Let's take a stake in rare earth miners, rare earth producers. What are we going to do in quantum? Let's take an equity stake. And that's really where this is going. We're going to see what sectors and industries end up becoming engulfed with this. Uncle Sam coming in and taking a piece.
So I think that's actually the crux of the matter here, the point. So, I mean, you were outlining like Chrysler, Lee Iacocca. Did everybody remember Lee Iacocca? Wow, we're gonna date ourselves a little bit here. GM and some of these other things that you mentioned during, say, the financial crisis and whatnot. And those were for different reasons, right? I mean, I think what you're trying to argue here or to bring to people's attention is that the government involvement now is moving into another phase of development, that this is not bailing out a Chrysler, bailing out a GM or a GMAC or a Ford. This is something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, I mean, you take something like Trilogy Metals, right? This is a micro cap. Nobody's heard of this stuff. This is an Arctic explorer for rare earths. This stuff doesn't really move the needle so much in terms of the S&P 500 or the Russell 1000. And the reason is because who's ever heard of it, right? It's no big deal. Intel is one you heard of. You got IBM is now in this conversation on the quantum side. Now we're starting to talk about big companies that everybody knows, companies that have been around. The issue with IBM is they have essentially a joint venture with the federal government now on quantum chip making. So the FedGov came in with $2 billion across 9 quantum plays. Nobody's ever heard of the other 8 quantum plays. Everybody's heard of IBM. Yeah. And it's not an equity stake in the IBM common itself. It's an equity stake in the JV for quantum chip making. But you start to ask questions down the road. I mean, look, Trump isn't going to be around forever. There's going to be some other future president or maybe 3 presidents from now. And do you start making the Intels and IBMs of the world a little bit more at the beck and call of what DC may want? Hiring and firing, building a new plant, not closing an operation of some sort. These are some of the issues that are increasingly on the table. And I'll tell you, Kevin, Bernie in Vermont, and so is Trump. They're talking about the AI companies. Maybe that's where this goes next.
So in our final, say, 30 seconds or so, that's what I wanted to ask you. Okay. So where we were, where we are now, thoughts on where we could be going. You kind of just hinted to it.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's early summer. I would spend a lot of summer seeing what, if anything, this might be one of those things they just broach the subject and it gets forgotten. That happens in DC too. But you had both Trump and Sanders in the last week talking about and ruminating upon what they're going to do with the AI companies. Sanders wants to essentially expropriate probably half the equity and create a big sovereign wealth fund. There is the concept theoretically that OpenAI, Anthropic, and or others might end up in the Trump accounts. You know what, Kevin? Those Trump accounts are coming live on July 4th, by the way. Even people who are not eligible for it, their kids will get the Michael Dell money. That's $250. Does that in 27 or 28 end up being put into like an OpenAI or Anthropic? Nobody knows. This is one of those things as we move on from the Strait of Hormuz or move on from the SpaceX IPO, we start asking questions. Where are we treating Intel? Where are we treating IBM as a society and its relationship with the government? And are these AI companies next on the docket?
That's great stuff. We're going to end it there, everybody. Remember, as we said, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. We're here every other week. Also a written version, Wisdom Tree at www.wisdomtree.com. If you want to go old school and read something, we have it for you there as well. So, Jeff, once again, I think it was a really, really interesting topic. And we're going to continue, I think, in the future. This is going to be a topic that's going to be a gift that keeps on giving. Not to those companies, no pun intended, but in terms of people talking about it. So, everybody, have a great rest of your week.